divide the people, split them into quarreling factions, fighting among themselves rather than their common enemy. This is the comrades' first rule for the conquest of any country, for well do they know from long experience that the nation so divided and weakened can be easily conquered from within.
The most powerful enemy can be conquered only by exerting the utmost effort, and by thoroughly, carefully, attentively, and skillfully taking advantage of even the smallest rift, of every antagonism of interest among the various groups or types within the various countries.
El problema es que en la medida en que la pureza va siendo exigible a cada vez más personas y el estándar de pureza se va incrementando cada vez más, incluso aquellos que partieron denunciando el mal terminan no correspondiendo con ese estándar y terminan cayendo bajo la misma guillotina o siendo incinerados en la hoguera.
After the communists have found some issue or point of difference upon which they can divide the people, get them fighting among themselves rather than their common enemy, the next step is to create the appearance of popular support for the communists' war of national liberation. Yet in one country after another, there have been alert, informed individuals who saw the signs, recognized the patterns of conquest, and raised their voices to warn the people.
Lo que sí se hace siempre es plantear un capitalismo real con todos los pecados que tiene versus un socialismo ideal, que es aquel donde todos vamos a ser felices y vamos a ser, por supuesto, prósperos y vamos a ser iguales.
Against just such a contingency, the communists developed the third phase of their blueprint for world domination: neutralize the opposition.
We can and must write in a language which sows among the masses hate, revulsion, and scorn toward those who disagree with us.
A Communist Party directive issued in 1943 reads,
Members and front organizations must continually embarrass, discredit, and degrade our critics. When obstructionists become too irritating, label them as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic. Constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind.
Vivimos en tiempos de una nueva Inquisición. No prendemos fuego en el centro del pueblo y quemamos a las brujos. Los linchamos, destruimos su reputación y los medios claramente son influidos por esta dinámica de persecución y cacería.
Creo que lo que se está produciendo en Occidente, no solo en Chile, es un deterioro preocupante y muy acelerado de la esfera pública como espacio de diálogo racional.
The next step in the communist strategy is the most easily recognized, for it consists of the tactic of getting masses into motion, and thus precipitating mob violence. Master psychologists that they are, the communists know that once the masses are in the streets, it's not too difficult to convert an orderly demonstration into a full-scale riot. They know, too, that when rioting occurs, police and military forces of the government must move to restore law and order, and thus they have the first visible signs of revolution.
Riots, demonstrations, street battles, detachments of a revolutionary army. Such are the stages in the development of the popular uprising.
The official constitution and program of the Communist Party stated in 1921,
The Communist Party will educate and organize the working masses for mass strikes and mass demonstrations. It is through struggles that the working masses are prepared for the final conflict for power. As these strikes grow in number and intensity, they acquire political character through unavoidable collision and open combat with the capitalistic state. Mass action culminates in insurrection and civil war.
Aquí hemos llegado al punto de hablar de violencia revolucionaria para cambiar la sociedad. Bueno, este ha sido el discurso clásico del socialismo y todo lo que vimos en el siglo XX, con los 100 millones de muertos, la consecuencia de eso. Se habla de esa violencia revolucionaria porque se cree que el fin al cual se está apuntando, lo acaba de decir, esta utopía, este futuro. El socialismo nunca existe en la práctica, siempre está en el futuro, ¿no? Hay que llegar. Bueno, es tan grandioso que justifica el costo. Y a Eric Hobsbawm una vez le preguntaron al famoso historiador marxista si es que valía la pena matar a millones de personas para construir la sociedad socialista, y él dijo que sí.
Marches and demonstrations turn into riots in any country slated for takeover, the communists are then ready to implement the final stage of their blueprint for conquest. It takes only a handful of armed opportunists, criminals and savages to create the semblance of revolution.
Only insurrection can guarantee the victory of the revolution. The purpose of insurrection must be not only the complete destruction or removal of all local authorities and the replacement by new, but also the expulsion of the landlords and the seizure of their lands. First, we will take Eastern Europe. Next, the masses of Asia. Then we shall encircle the last bastion of capitalism, the United States of America. We will not have to attack. It will fall like overripe fruit into our hands.
Pido al mundo, como ha dicho hoy Almagro, OEA, Naciones Unidas, Unión Europea, con la Iglesia Católica, háganse presentes en Bolivia.
¿Hasta cuándo? Si nos van a ayudar la comunidad internacional, esto es para ustedes. ¿Cuándo nos van a ayudar? Métanlo la mano de una buena vez. Estamos cansados. Contamos con ustedes, no tenemos apoyo de más nadie. Estos desgraciados no van a dejar el poder a las buenas. Tiene que ser con ustedes que nos colaboren, que nos metan la mano. Necesito mi país libre como todos nosotros.
Sábado aterrizaron 2 aviones rusos en Venezuela, uno de ellos con un centenar de militares. Además apuntó que llegó un carguero con 35 toneladas de material militar.
Mira estas colas, señores, a la vista está, mira eso. Mira la revolución, engañándolo al pueblo. El pueblo tiene que despertar. El pueblo tiene que despertar. Pueblo venezolano, nosotros tenemos que abrirle nuestra mente y despertar de lo que está pasando ahorita.
Oye, tenemos que permanecer ocultos hasta que nos salven. Si aún tuvieras familia... Esto solo se va a arreglar desde adentro de la ciudad. ¿Qué harían sin su libertad? ¿Pelearán? ¡Eso! ¡No! ¡Huiremos! ¡Y viviremos! ¿Sí? ¡Huyan! ¡Y vivirán! Aunque sea un tiempo.
Let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war. But there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war. Only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better read than dead, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. And he said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.